And where did your entrepreneurial interest come from? Did that come from?
Yeah,
watching your father?
I came from my dad. Just watching him growing up, and he raised me as an entrepreneur. There's no doubt about that from a very young age. I think probably really starting off as a young man, or even as a kid, the way I really communicated with my father was in a very business-like manner. And I started working in his company at the age of 10. So business was always in looking how things are organized and what people want, and really how do you create a life for yourself with in an entrepreneurial spirit.
Right.
And that's where it started.
So maybe Joe, could we talk a little bit about your life, where you were born and then moving over here, and how you started, maybe your own experiences at school, going into how you set up your first business and that side of things.
Well, I was born in Seguin, Texas, and I was raised in Seguin, Texas. I left Seguin when I went into the service and spent my time in service. And then when I was out of the service, I went to San Francisco. I didn't go back to Texas. And there, I had many different jobs, working my way through. And as time went by, I went back to Texas. And when I ended up back in Texas, I went to work in the automotive aftermarket business. Went to work for Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company, as a matter of fact. And there, I had the opportunity to learn a lot of things that really school never offered me. One of them was because where I started off, it was in the shop, and so I wanted to become a salesperson, so I was able to work in the evenings in the sales department there. And after a while, I just kept progressing, and then I decided to come back to California. I didn't want to stay in Texas any longer. One of the reasons there, it was just very stable in Texas. In other words, everybody who was my boss, they had to die before I got the next movement. So I came to California and was the same company, transferred. And when I came to California, a lot of the skills that I brought with me from my childhood and from working in Texas, like you go to work every day and you really perform and you provide value and you do these things and things work out, I applied all those. So I rapidly grew in my positions in the company. And then I had the opportunity and Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company did a lot for me in that they provided extra training and extra development for me. Spent some time at Harvard Business School, about 3 weeks on an entrepreneur program. They paid for it. Spent some time in Chapel Hill, and again, Goodyear paid for it, management courses and so on and so forth. So after a while, all those courses, which I know they wanted me to go on up the corporate ladder, that's why they were sending me to those schools. But what I learned was I'd be better off working for myself. So I after a while, I said, look, guys, I'm going to move on, and I got involved in my own business, and all that developed into all the growth that we had in our businesses.